I've been failing in communicating. So right now we agree with each other, and we're almost echoing the same sentiments. So that person that doesn't agree with us, that vegetarian, vegan, a conservationist that looks at us like, no, you guys are hunters, you can't be conservationists. Where does the conversation start? Where's the middle ground where you can find where an opportunity to build rapport and to have a conversation, to have a discussion, to have maybe even a debate where you can intellectually talk through your different perspectives. I've been failing at this miserably of late, and I've been getting a lot of. It's weird when my social media. I think I have a lot of conservative, military, pro Second Amendment types that follow me. When that whole entire base is mad at me, which is weird, and then on the other side, the far left progressive side is looking at me and being like, oh, we hate you too. So I'm like, I have now pissed off 95% of people on social media because I'm trying to find middle ground so we can talk.
Have you pissed off the conservatives?
Yeah.
How have you done that?
Lance Armstrong and I were talking about gun control after the Parkland shooting in Florida. And he asked me, do you think gun control is a solution? And I said, absolutely. I think gun control can be a massive solution. Verbatim. That's exactly what I said. Now, to me, gun control, those are words. Words like well-regulated militia, the words in the Constitution. That's almost synonymous to me. Gun laws, also a form of gun control, just like a well-regulated militia. I think that having good, safe gun laws save lives. I don't want to have a felon, an MS-13 guy, an illegal immigrant, somebody that's been dishonorably discharged from the military to get their hands on a gun. We have those laws. Those are forms of gun control, in my opinion. But the conservatives' Second Amendment, if you use the words gun control, like I was immediately called a Benedict Arnold, I'm a traitor, I was a Duff. I don't even know what a Duff is. That was a reoccurring one. I think it was the guy from... Roger Rabbit, the guy that would hunt around with the gun, but he didn't know how to use the gun because he always missed Roger Rabbit.
Do you mean Bugs Bunny?
Yeah, Bugs Bunny. Yep, that's the one.
So Elmer Fudd.
Yeah, a Fudd. That's what they called me, a Fudd.
Yeah.
So hundreds of people, and I'm trying to have a conversation with Lance Armstrong, a guy that had never shot a gun at the time, that was against private citizens really owning guns. And he couldn't be more for gun control, but I wanted just to talk to him.
Yeah.
And so I had no problem using his vernacular, using, the words that he's comfortable with, like gun control. Even though to me, that's just gun laws, that's well-regulated militia. I mean, I'm a huge Second Amendment proponent. I don't think anybody has ever questioned that until this moment.
If they just pay attention to you for 5 minutes, all they have to do is just go to your social media and you go, this is not an anti-gun guy.
No.
This guy's on the range. How many days a week?
6, 5?
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah. Like, I'm mad that I'm here with you.
You're not on the range.
Because I'm not on the range, But I'll make it up tomorrow.
Yeah, you're a gun nut.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
I mean, it's an occupational thing.
Yes.
Like, I have no choice. This is what I do now.
If you want to be excellent at your job, you must be a gun nut. Yeah.
Well, in that conversation, I disavowed apparently my huge group of Second Amendment loving people.
I have a theory on that. I think there's a lot of people that are just looking, get pissed off, and if you say any word that they decide is a hot button word, like gun control, they don't care if you've thought it out and you have a rational perspective on what you consider gun control. Like, there was a statement that was released by a group of hunters. It was Hunters for Gun Control, and they had a bunch of reasonable reasons why people shouldn't have a firearm that could get a firearm currently. And it all made sense. But the response to that, the backlash of it, it's not debate. It's like people on that side, the pro-Second Amendment side, they are so terrified of any new regulation. And they think that you have to hold your ground because any slipping backwards is going to eventually lead to someone taking your guns away.
Yeah, I mean, I do understand the death by 1,000 cuts. I think that has always been the perspective. If you look at, it's not like Adolf Hitler said, okay, we're going to kill all the blacks and all the Jews overnight. That's not what happened, right? It was over the course of 7-8 years where he just very slowly, incrementally changed laws. Okay, they're not allowed to shop here. Okay, they're not allowed to go here. Okay, now we're going to move them all into the same area. And very slowly, not slowly, in a matter of 5, 6, 7 years, he started a genocide of an entire ethnicity. And that's the fear. It's okay. It's going to be incremental, and at some point we're going to turn around and look at all of this freedom that we've lost. And I think it's the same, during right after 9/11 when George Bush, the Freedom Act or the Patriot Act, Patriot Act.
Yeah.
That was one of the largest losses of privacy that Americans have ever experienced. But we were fearful, we were scared, and I love dangerous freedom. But overnight, we lost a ton of that. Not incrementally, just overnight. But the most efficient way is to take it bit by bit by bit. So I get that. But for Christ's sakes, man, you can't find somebody that's more of a proponent of the Second Amendment than me, except apparently on that day when I pissed off. So I'm trying to figure out how to have a conversation. I can't do it.
I don't think that they are any more of a Second Amendment proponent than you are. I just think they're ideologically so rigid in this idea that you can't change gun laws at all. I mean, if you think that someone who's on antipsychotic medication, who has bouts of manic schizophrenia, you think that person should be allowed to have guns when they hear voices that aren't real, they see things that aren't really there.
They've been reported to the FBI a handful of times. The sheriff knows about them. The principal knows about them.
Well, obviously the problem with that is someone can decide to report Tim Kennedy. They can make up some story. Look, Tim Kennedy's been acting crazy. Tim Kennedy's doing these, saying he's going to kill my family. Tim Kennedy's doing this. Tim Kennedy's doing. If someone just decides to actively target you in that way, they can sort of frame you as some sort of a crazy person and then use that as an excuse to go after your guns. I mean, this is what people are terrified of.
Yeah.
And that is possible.
It is.
I mean,
and there's
being objective.
And there's no due process on the backside. Okay, so if somebody was wrongfully put on a list or you not to be allowed to buy a gun, how do you get off that list?
Right. How do you?
I don't know.
How do you?
I mean, as a guy that spends quite a bit of time, what I think hopefully protecting gun laws and protecting gun ownership, I don't even know how to get off that list.
No.
That's scary.
You probably don't.
Yeah,
you probably
ever.
don't get off of
It's like the no-fly list. There's just not a way to not get off it.
Hey, who the fuck ever gets back on the fly list? I know you were off the list, but you're back on. Come on back. Get on board. Southwest.
No worries.
Sit near the window.
No. Can I have my beverage service and peanuts, please?
Yeah. It's one of those things where there's a left side and a right side. And if you say something that the left believes in, you're a traitor. And if you're on the other side, if you say something the right believes in, you're a traitor.
But the conversation has to happen in the middle.